of like, I can't afford food right now, so I'm just going to go to sleep. But like sometimes there are students who literally do that every week right before they get paid. And sometimes it's not just that Thursday before. Sometimes it's like that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And they're just snacking when they can. Like when they can get any kind of sustenance in them. And then the housing insecurity is like another thing that like I think about a lot. Because I think about like college students and community colleges a lot. Which they talk about in here. Is like community colleges are more, have like a lot more like housing insecurity, because like if you think about like first year students, they're required to live on campus no matter what. Like you have to live on campus, and so you have somewhere to live, thankfully. But like community colleges, like I have only known like one community college that I've also only interacted with maybe 3 or 4 community colleges, keep that in mind. So I'm sure there's more, but out of the like 3 or 4 community colleges that I like had visited, like there was only one that had like on campus living, and it was just like an apartment complex that they had just recently bought like 2 or 3 years. It was like back in 2015, so I was a sophomore in college, something like that. So like they like and even then you weren't guaranteed a spot because it was just first come first served to the apartments. And so you still had college students needing to commute, and you had college students sleeping in their cars to make sure they could get to class on time. And like, how are you going? I think about this a lot because I did have a student who, before he transferred to my undergrad, he did live out of his car to go to a community college, because it was cheaper than driving home, because the community college was about like an hour drive from him. So he had class, I think he said he had class Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or something like that. Like it was a weird, like, he had like studios and stuff. I don't remember what his associate's degree was in, but it was only Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So he would drive there Monday and then would just sleep in his car Tuesday night and Monday and Tuesday night, and then drive home because it was cheaper than driving back and forth. Like, how are you, and that's the thing, is like, how are you going to do homework? How are you going to be able to survive while sleeping in a car? I've slept in a car before. It's not fun. It's not comfortable. If it's comfortable, it's because I've made it super comfortable, and I was like, I just want to sleep in my car like today because we're going camping. Like, it was fun for me. That's not fun. It's not fun knowing that you have to, I'm getting really amped up, but it's not fun that you have to make those kinds of sacrifices just for an education. Even at a community college where that's like the cheapest to go, and sometimes it's free to go to the community colleges. Like especially like around me, it's like free at a lot of the community colleges as long as you're in this like path to go to the 4-year institution that they're connected to. And so it's just so ridiculous to me that students have to make those choices. It makes me, I'm getting like lightheaded because I'm sick. I'm so sorry. This is so dramatic, but I'm sick and I'm like getting so amped up. My head's like getting like, whew, hot. Whew. But it's like so aggravating to me that students just like have to make those choices to be able to better themselves and better their education. And it's just so, I've said this like 6 times, so I'll move on, but before I get stuck on something. But and then the 9% of homelessness, like that is so, if you're going to be a college student, the likelihood of you failing out because you're homeless is so high. If you don't have a place to just lay down and feel like you're safe, that's so like detrimental to your education. It's so detrimental to like you being secure and you being safe and you making sure that you actually are getting a quality education. Because how are you going to pay attention in class when you're starving? How are you going to pay attention in class when you don't know if you're going to be able to sleep comfortable tonight, or like you're going to sleep in a car tonight, and that's not something you can really look forward to? I don't know. I'm gonna just, it's just I don't have a solution. I think more community colleges need to have on-campus housing, and not just like an apartment complex. It's like one first come first serve, like one, they need like multiple. And I think they need to have options for like maybe even like overnight stay, to where if you only have class like Monday and like Tuesday, Wednesday, like my student did, like it's just like the 3-night stay, like a really cheap Airbnb or hotel that's like through the college campus. I think that would help so many students to have temporary housing to where they could stay for a couple days and then go home, where they're living for free or however they're doing it. And then that way you're at least secure that your stuff's not, you're not going to get your car broken into while you're sleeping in it, and your stuff's going to be taken. I think that would be a start. And like, not even just community colleges, I think housing on campus is so expensive. It's so expensive to live here. And this is from a housing perspective. Like, I think it's so ridiculous that it's so expensive here to live on campus when they're forced to live on campus. I don't know the exact number, but I know when I was an RA, my tuition, my waiver covered like $11,000 for 2 semesters. $11,000 is just, sorry, a notification popped up on my phone and it paused it, but $11,000 is so much money. And like, to just like pop that up out of like, where like a lot of scholarships won't cover your housing, like that's hard for a first year student to be able to do, especially when there's already a bunch of other barriers against them. And I think it's like really important that we as like professionals like recognize that like, even if we are in a field, we need to understand that there are still flaws in that field. I think that there are a bunch of flaws in housing. I think we're really expensive, and we always claim to be the best place to live on campus, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes we're too expensive for a lot of students, and we need to know that. And we need to know how to be okay with those students being like, no, I'm moving off campus. I literally can't afford to be on here. And if I'm going to make it through these next 3 years, I got to go. So, I don't know. This is just like a side note. I also kind of really liked how this survey kind of looked at non-binary individuals. Like, that's just like a little like tiny little thing for me, just because as someone who's non-binary, I feel like a lot of times like non-binary individuals or like trans individuals are like left out, and they're just like categorized as male, female. So I liked that this had like the non-binary category. That was just like a little side note I wanted to mention that I really enjoyed. So little positive thing to end this, I guess. So this is already 18 minutes long, so I'm going to keep this ending very short. That's all the readings from what I know, so I'll double check right before, but I think that's it. But I just wanted to say thank you for having such like an amazing class. And I don't know, I'm really bad at like saying thank you a lot of times, but I just wanted to say thank you because you really influenced my life here at Ball State, and like your class has like really influenced me to be a better practitioner, and has really inspired me to like go and do a lot of the stuff that like I have thought not possible for a really long time. So like I want to be a professor and like get my doctorates, and like I honestly never would have thought that until starting this program and like actually believing that I could go get my doctorates and go make something of myself. So I just wanted to say thank you for such a great class and an amazing experience. I'm taking your community college class next semester and your community college and diversity class the following semester. And if I'm being very honest with you, one is because I want to learn more about community colleges, because I've learned that they're very important to the school system, but also because you've just been such a big influence on my experience here at Ball State. I just want to try and like have as many classes with like you as possible. And it sounds like I'm really just like kissing up at this point, but I just wanted to make sure that I told you how much you've impacted me while being here at Ball State. So I hope you have a good night. Have fun grading the rest of these. I'm sorry this last one's a little long, so I will see you in class, and have a good night. Bye.